Welcome to Rollin with Mike, podcast on wheels. My name is Mike Wilson, aka Rollin Mike, your host. I am a writer, speaker, and disability coach, and author of a book titled Return from the Edge. 31 years ago, I was injured in a life-altering motor vehicle accident that left me as a quadriplegic. This is my story. Welcome to the Rollin with Mike podcast on wheels. Today we have an individual who I've gotten to know over the past 2 years. We work out together at a gym called Impact Fitness in Lutz, Florida, right outside of Tampa. Nick Witkowski, he's an amputee, so I want him to discuss a little bit about maybe his injury or how that came about. Nick, if you want to tell us a little bit about that so the listeners can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I was born in Russia, and actually up there they had the polio vaccine going around, and the polio vaccine was injected, and it was a live virus, and I guess I got a bad batch or something like that, and it destroyed the entire left side of the leg where the all the nerve damage is, just in the back and partially on the right side, but mainly just affected the quadricep and kind of just a little bit of the muscle building in that, but slowly working that back up. But now I wear an HKAFO, so it's still a little bit difficult to kind of get around. It's the exact same thing as an amputee. It's got the rest of the limb there. It's just dead leg. That's what I call it. So,
how much of your quadricep works through?
Probably 15 to 25% of it, and that's just from either not using it or it was affected a little bit, and I just haven't been able to use it that much. So that probably 15 to 25% was affected.
Can you
severely.
Describe to the listeners out there to what effect that has on you on a daily life, and how much does that disrupt? I know you've been able to adapt and overcome, and really, I really admire you for that.
It's a pretty basic day for everything else. You just get up, get out of bed, and then throw the leg on real quick so you can just kind of move around. Everything else of my life is essentially, to me, normal. The walking a little bit, coming up and down stairs, that can be a pain in the butt a little bit, just because you have to continue to move around. You have to walk in a little bit of a different way that can, make you a little bit more tired rather than, someone that has both of their legs that work fine. They can walk forever and, they'd be okay. For me, it takes a little bit more energy to walk, so can't walk that far. But everything else of my life, I pretty much do generally the same. I drive a car the exact same way as anybody else. I don't use hand controls, nothing like that. I can drive stick, which is something not a lot of people generally can do. And then, it's going outside. I still work outside. I still work out. I'm pretty active as everything else goes. It's just little tiny adjustments I have to make for day-to-day life.
You live here now, right outside of Tampa, Florida, and you're on the USA men's developmental league, right?
Development team, yeah.
Their developmental team. When did you get started with that? And when did you first come to love the game of hockey?
So that was when I was 5 years old. I was still living up in Granger, Indiana, a little small town up there. And my mom got in contact with this guy, Jay Lewis, and he had a program up there, the River City Sled Rovers. That was the first sled hockey program I went to. We came to the sled try-it event, and it was like a 2-hour-long event, and they opened up the ice. They had tons of sleds and stuff laying out. Walked in and got me right into a sled, got me all the pads and stuff. Or no, they got me a helmet, gloves, sticks, and a sled. That was it. You had no other pads on. Yeah. But then again, it was only a try. You weren't supposed to hit anybody. But I got on the ice, and then my mom said I just took off. So I don't necessarily remember all of it, just because I was 5, but she said I just took off, and I was gone for pretty much the entire time. I came back at one point, she said, and the thing that caught her off guard was that I said, I'm just like everybody else. For the first time, being a kid, generally a kid, you don't see a lot of other disabled kids.
Yeah.
And you're treated, with a physical, you have your physical disabilities, and you do have some mental disabilities, and they kind of go under the same category, but at the same time they don't. I was always treated like I had to be treated like extra special and all this other stuff. I was talked to like a baby. Even people with mental disabilities, they don't like being treated like a baby. There's no reason to. They're still people. They can still comprehend everything the same way we do. But I started with that. It was the first time, and then I was like, okay, just have fun with this. I lived up there for 7 years, and I didn't really think there's anything beyond that. And then we came down to West Palm Beach, Florida. Mom got a different job, so we had to go down there. Saw it on the Paralympics, 2016 Paralympics, and I watched them, and I was like, I could actually do that at some point. So I got in contact, my mom got in contact with a guy, Dan Robbins. He ran the West Palm Beach Tiger Shark sled hockey program.
Yeah.
Amazing program. We went to again, it's the same thing, kind of a try-it sled hockey event. Got on the ice. I got a sled from him. I borrowed a sled from him because I didn't have my own. Used that for a little bit, and then starting to get a little bit more serious about it. And I went to my first development camp in 2018. I was invited to go. And essentially, what a development camp is, they pick 60 players or 60 hockey players to come up to a camp it was in Buffalo, New York, and you stayed at the University of Buffalo for a week, and you stay in the dorms and everything like that. You went up there, and it was consistent training. You would be on the ice 2 times a day, I think, and then everything else was either you're off ice training or you're doing team buildings, stuff like that, to kind of learn about the game of hockey, learn other people, just kind of generally get your name out there. And then went to camp in 2018. 2019, I made, after 2019 tryouts, that was the first year I went to tryouts. I did not go to tryouts 2018 because there was no way I was getting on the ice with those guys. They just all looked big. And then 2020, I actually made the development team. And, it's the top, they have like certain rules that goes into it on how the ranking system is, but it's generally you're right behind that national team on how it's set up. So as you're going through, and I just got more and more into it. I got great coaches, a lot of people that were invested in me and wanted to get me to get better, and it just kind of took off from there. So it started back in Indiana when I was just like, okay, I can make a family out of this. And then 2016, when I saw that on the Paralympics, I was like, I can make this a life. I can make this a career.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. I admire you for that. I look up to you. It's also empowering for those who live with a disability. I don't know if you knew this or not, but 18 to 22% of the country live their life with a disability, whether it's visible or invisible. Mm-hmm. So if I were to say, list the top 2, maybe 3 things out there that you would say to somebody in your shoes going through a disability as a young kid.
So, it's like I said, you're in a small town. I mean, for one, you don't have a lot of people. You go to one school, you don't see anyone else like you. You go out to the playground, there's nobody else, you can't run with everybody else. You can't climb on everything like everybody else. You're kind of left behind a little bit. So when I got on the ice for that first time and I was with everybody, I was passing some people. Like, I was going faster than some people. I wasn't doing it right, don't get me wrong, but I was still going faster than some people. And for the first time, I actually felt like I actually fit in a little bit and that I could actually do something with someone. So that's exactly what I felt.
Man, break it down to me, like how your parents, like how did they treat you? Or I know I've heard you mention your mom. I'm not sure what the story is with your dad. It's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. But how did they treat you? Like, did they treat you any differently?
I do have 2 moms.
Okay.
They are married. They're my adopted parents.
Okay.
But they've never treated me differently at all.
Yeah.
They've treated me like every other person. I mean, they have definitely helped. Like, they'll give me a little bit more of a break, or they did give me a little bit more of a break if I got a little bit tired with the leg or something like that. They'd be like, okay, you can chill out for a little bit, rest up. But no, they don't expect me. They don't like give me special privileges saying, oh, because of this leg, I'll let you stay up past your bedtime or whatever it was like that. No, it was the exact same thing. I was still going out in the yard doing yard work. I was still doing chores in the house. I mean, there was nothing else. There was no difference in treating me just because they knew that I was not normal. Because, I mean, I got braces all my life, and I've been breaking them consistently because I'm going out and doing something stupid, either running around or jumping off of something and just breaking the things down. So, like, if he can do all that, then he can definitely vacuum the house. So, no, there's no special treatment or anything like that. And I'd rather have it that way rather than me like, oh no, I don't want you to do that. Because if they treated me like that, then I wouldn't have learned anything that I know now. Just general knowledge that I have now. I wouldn't have gotten that if they treated me completely different.
Yeah, I can guarantee you got a high school diploma, but have you pursued? Are you in college? Are you doing any further studies?
Yeah, no, I did take a couple semesters in community college. School's never been really my thing. I haven't liked it. And I went to college to see maybe is it going to be a little bit better than high school, because high school's a different story. But I thought college would be a little bit better, and I was like, it's not for me. I can't just sit there and just fill out paperwork. I have to do something with my hands. So, I work a couple jobs right now, and I'm saving up for welding school, to go to welding school, and then we're just going to kind of take that career path as we're going that way. So
welding is, you can do very well in that field, and no matter what you do in life, as long as you enjoy it, you love it, you'll never work another day.
Yeah, 100%.
So could you describe some of your coaches and some of the things that they've, how they've made an impact in your life?
Oh, I've had a number of coaches that have helped me. Coach Denny from Impact Fitness actually he definitely helped me at some point. I'll get to that. But the first one would be Jay Lewis, just starting that little bit. If it wasn't for him, like getting me to come back and stuff, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. He got me up into that point where it's like, okay, this is supposed to be fun. Don't forget about the fun part, because it can, when it comes to professional athletics, it can get stressful, and you can't forget that you're doing this because you like. You're not doing this because you have to work and all those other stuff. You're doing it because you like it. That's the ultimate foundation of it. And then Dan Robbins. Dan Robbins was an amazing coach. He taught me the game. Like, he taught me, this is offsides, this is onsides. You can't run into someone even if they don't have the puck. You can't just do that. There are rules to hockey. He taught me all the rules to hockey. Coach Ron Robichaud. He's a great coach. He was the coach of the Florida Bandits. It was a Florida all-star team, essentially. They had all the best players, and all down here. He's not a super friendly, nice guy. Like, once you get to know him, yeah, he is. But when you first meet him, he's like, I don't know you, you don't know me, and we're gonna keep it that way for right now. And it's when he's on the ice, he's coaching. If you've seen the Miracle on Ice, that movie, that's exactly who he was. That head coach, pretty much. But one of the biggest things I remember from him, we were running a drill or something like that, me and one other guy, and we both made the exact same mistake. We turned our backs to the puck. You're never supposed to do that, and I continue to do that today. But, you're never supposed to do that. And he stopped the entire drill right there and then, and he was like, okay, I want you guys to sit right here. I'm going to put the puck somewhere on the ice. I want you to turn your back away from it. I want you to tell me where it is. And this is in front of everybody. He stopped the practice and had us two sit right there. That was it. And we're like, we can't see it. It's like, exactly. So turn around and now watch it. Now watch the puck. Where is it? It's like, it's over there. Turn around again. He moved the puck. He's like, where's the puck now? And we got it wrong every time. And he's like, this is exactly what I'm telling you. You need to pay attention to the game and everything. And that showed me, I was like, okay, that no one's going to really care about how you feel. No one's going to hold your hand through the entire process. You either get it right or you don't. And, part of that definitely did help. It helped a lot of personal development as well. Coach Scott Killips, he was also there too. And, he was kind of the same thing as Coach Ron as well. But Scott was more we got to figure out why you're continuing to do this part. Ron's just like, cut it out, like stop doing it, like the little tiny things, and then the bigger things and stuff. Scott would be like, okay, why are you doing this? Why do you continue to do this? Well, figure this out. Maybe you're just not understanding. And then you have all your USA coaches, Coach Hoff, Coach Kip, Coach Grady, all these other coaches that have definitely helped as well. But I think the biggest one would probably be Denny, Coach Wes, Marcus, all the guys at Impact Fitness.
Each one of us is driven and motivated in different ways. You've been able to travel to several different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, the first overseas country I went to was the Czech Republic. I went up with the U.S. men's national team to compete in the International Para Hockey Cup. And what that is, they bring a couple teams in all to the Czech Republic, and you play against each other for this little tournament and stuff. And going over there, super nervous for the first time. I mean, you're traveling overseas for the first time, and you're with the best players in the world with that. So there's a lot of things going all at once. But getting there, it was amazing. It was like an 9-hour flight. That was probably the worst part of it. And then your sleep was always going to be off just because of the time change and everything. So they told you, okay, this is when you sleep on the plane. This is when you don't sleep on the plane. Don't sleep for the first half of the flight. After the next half of the flight, you need to sleep. Like, even if you're not tired, you need to go to sleep so you can start getting acclimated. Getting there, we got onto a bus and stuff. We had to cross the border and everything like that. But getting into the other country, it was, all the architect and everything like that, it was beautiful. It was absolutely stunning. And then just hearing kind of just how people act, or like, it's completely different from where you are here. It's different, but it's the same at the exact same time. Not a lot of people drive there. It's a lot of walking, and it was cold there too. You could see your breath when you're out there. I was like, no, being from Florida, there's no way. So I didn't really go out that much at night. I was staying inside the warm hotel. But no, it was definitely fun. It was an experience nonetheless, and it challenged me as, like, when we got on the ice and stuff, because when you get on the ice, you have a big crowd. That first game that we had, never gonna forget that. Is like, everyone was just roaring. You could not hear. I was sitting to someone that was probably a little bit closer to me than you are right now, and I couldn't hear anything they were saying, and they were screaming. I was like, okay, that's completely different from any other thing I've ever experienced, and it was amazing.
They take their hockey serious, don't they?
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
100%, they do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's absolutely crazy. So.
Yeah. I know you touched on you're working 2 jobs right now.
Yeah.
And at your age is, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you're early 20s.
19.
Ooh, I thought you were early 20.
A lot of people think I do.
Yeah, so, yeah, well-spoken, well-rounded for 19 years old. Your mom, I'm sure both your moms are proud.
Yeah.
They should be proud of you. And mom's going, if the moms will hear this, then I'm proud of your son. You did a tremendous job of raising him. Can you describe the way some of the coping mechanisms, and what I mean by coping mechanisms, do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
that
100%.
you've had to use. So somebody today that's in your shoes, that's out there, that is struggling to find answers, or doesn't, or just like, oh man, that inspires me. Describe some of the challenges, but the coping mechanisms that you used in order to overcome the obstacle and adversities that have fallen your way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still figuring that stuff out now too. It's not an easy thing that you can just just get over. It's like, a lot of people say, well, you're fine. Everybody likes you how you are. It's not that easy. It's a lot more complicated than that. When you're going into it, you're thinking about, for people who were injured, that had life before that, you're thinking about everything that you can't do anymore that you used to be able to do. For kids, not a lot of people can kind of understand that. It's, for me, my whole thing was like, I'm seeing all these kids do these things, but I can't do them. So what do I need to do? I try to learn how to do some of it myself, just like by adapting to it. I was told I wasn't going to be able to ride a bike. I figured out how to ride a bike. I just didn't use my left leg. I just strapped the left leg onto a pedal and then just pedal with my right leg the entire time. That's how I rode a bike.
Yeah.
And then swimming. I taught myself how to swim without my legs. I took swimming classes, but they kept trying to get me to use my leg. I was like, that's not going to work. So I taught myself how to swim without use of my legs. You just let them drag behind you, essentially. But there's really no good coping mechanism that I have, figured out that works 100%, because nothing works 100%. You just got to figure out a combination of things. For me, lifting was a big thing, working out. That was probably my biggest thing that I could say will definitely help your confidence or how you feel. It releases certain chemicals and everything like that. So it definitely helps. But I had a lot of good people come to my life, that definitely helped. One person taught me that, it doesn't matter what you are, who you look like, how you walk. It really doesn't matter. If you have an attractive personality, if you have something that, you care for others and others care for you, you have that I don't know other way to say it, but like that general good personality, people aren't really going to care about what you got going on with your leg and stuff, or what your disability is. If you can be a good person, a genuine good person, you can care about others, even if it means you got to sacrifice a little bit of yourself. Like, okay, it's not all about me. It's nice to be all about me, but it's not going to be all about me all the time. If I can care for someone else, then they overlook that everything else. I've had a lot of good friends that have said, I've never seen you with a wheelchair, which is why I've been asked sometimes, like, can you do this, this, and that? Because they don't really see the wheelchair. They don't really see the leg that I have. If you can surround yourself with good people, I think that's probably the best coping mechanism you can definitely do. But for that times where, and you'll run into it. You'll have the times where you don't have anybody at all. Going to the gym will probably be the best one that you can ever do, because whether you think you're doing good or not, you're going to be motivating someone else. If you see someone in a wheelchair at the gym lifting weight, or you see someone with one leg lifting weight, it motivates you a little bit more. That's what I've been told. I've been told by a lot of people, it's like, seeing you work out kind of motivates me a little bit. And I'm like, okay, good. So it means I'm doing something. Even though I'm doing something for myself or because of myself, I'm doing something to help others too. So, it's just kind of getting out, not shutting down and staying at home, being all alone, going out and doing something. Just doing that can help so many other people and have other people attracted to you and want to be around you just because of the energy that you give off. But if you're going to shut down and be like, oh, I'm disabled, I can't do this, I can't do that, yada, yada, yada. If you focus on all the things that you can't do, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to do anything. But if you focus on the things, I can do this, I can do this, it's a little bit different, but I can still do that. If you focus on that and look at life that way, you're going to attract a whole different crowd of people, and you're not even going to think about your disability, because it's going to just become consistent to you.
Yeah. Whole nature.
Exactly.
Last question.
Go for it.
I'm not sure how far you've gotten in my book titled Return from the Edge.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this, Travis and I. We did a podcast on it, and soon to be released, different social media reels and some fun things to go along with it. But can you describe a little bit about what you've read in my book and how that may have made a difference in your life?
It's a great book. Everything that I've read, and a big thing that points out to me, you reach out to God a lot with it throughout the book. You refer back to the Bible a ton, and that's amazing, because the Bible is so, you can easily relate to every single part of it, especially stuff that you've put in it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm going through this part in life, and almost everything that you have in your book, I'm sure someone has gone through. No one can read through your book and say, oh, I've never experienced anything that he's experienced. Maybe not directly, you haven't, but in some other sort of way you have. The amount of time when you said that we're getting ready for Bud's class and everything, or Bud's school and everything like that, I was like, okay, that's, he's struggling a lot. He's not going to be able to do this, and that. But, you just kept going and going and going. Right there, that was like, okay, that's something that you can't teach someone. You can't teach someone to be, hardworking. You can't teach someone to say, okay, don't give up on what you want to do. So it was a lot of things like that. And then I forgot what they gave you for your job. I can't remember.
Oh, mess specialist.
Yeah, that's right. I was like,
Yeah.
I knew it had something to do with food. I just didn't want to say
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
No, but I got that. And I was like, okay, you got that. It's not the one that you wanted, but still you learned, even though it didn't go your way, the one that you wanted, you still made the best out of it. You're like, okay, I'm going to learn this, this, and this. This is what I'm going to do. It may not be the job I want, may not be the thing I want to do, but I'm going to be the best at it. Right there, I was like, okay, that can apply to almost every single person in the world. It's like, not everything in your life is going to go the exact same way it needs to, or the exact same way that you want it to. But if something goes away a certain way, you need to make sure that you can be the best at it. That's going to be your best way to succeed. If it's like, okay, I'm not doing what I want to do, but if I can be the best at this, I can learn a new skill. I can learn something from there. And then if another opportunity that I want comes along, I'm going to grab that opportunity. But now I have this experience. I have everything else that I need from before. And I was like, okay, that's 100% relatable. And you're talking about after your accident, and there's something in the book, I can't remember off the top of my head, that caught me off guard. I was like, okay, wow, that's interesting. You were very upset. Just you lost all function. You weren't sure if you're gonna be able to walk again, and that was everything that you were focused on. And I think in a way we kind of all come across something like that. We experience a big downfall in life. That's like
It's a life-altering event.
exactly, and it's something that's going to change you forever. And it's not what happens to you, but it's how you respond to that event that determines your fate, essentially.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you for being a guest on the Rollin with Mike podcast on wheels.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here today. You have an amazing story. I admire you. I think every listener out there can gain some kind of perspective and understand as a young kid you were dealt what I would say a bad hand to start with, and you turned that around, tragedy into triumph, and you now you're excelling, and good luck in the future. I'll be there to cheer you on, man.
Awesome, thank you.